Hey y'all, it is Heckin' Tuesday. It is actually January 1st. And you know what they say, new year, new pineapple affection. I've been drawing many pineapples lately, so I'm going to show you how to draw a pineapple. I have my reference image up, and I do recommend you have a reference image. So, let's get to it. This is just going to be a sketch, and you can follow along if you'd like. So first thing I like to do is just kind of sketch a bottom line and a top line for how tall I want the entire thing to be. And then I do a halfway mark for this part is going to be the fruit. So now I'm just going to sketch a sort of rounded rectangle, basically. And, you know, looking at the reference image to make sure the shape is right. Roughly. And I'm keeping a light touch for the first part. And if I were to do a colored pineapple, pineapple of color, then I would start with the same sketch, but then I would, well, I'll get there later. Sometime, maybe I could show you how to color one of these too. Anyway, now I want to do the half circle section bits. So to do that, I like to do a sort of grid. So I sketch these diagonal lines sort of far apart. They're pretty wide because most pineapples don't have that many section bits, although it'll vary for reference images. Like this one doesn't have that many. This one has a lot. I think at least for me, my drawings tend to look better when there aren't that many sections, but you know, you do you. So then just go the other way. I'm just staying very light. And now I'm going to do the bits. So I'm going to just kind of wherever there's like a crossing thing, I'm just going to kind of, you know, make an arc along that. And notice that these like arc things are narrower than the actual rectangle-y section. It's not a rectangle, but you know what I mean. So we're just going to keep going up. Now this would be the part where if I was not lazy and actually edited my videos, I would fast forward a bit, maybe have some fun music, but I am lazy, so you get to watch me do it, but hey, that gives you time to go along with me. You can always play this video on double time if you want. I won't be offended. I do it all the time for these art YouTubers, not gonna lie. Even when they speed up their videos. Okay, so this is good. Now I'm gonna, well, actually, I don't like this one. It's too tall. But I am going to take a break from the bottom part and move to the leaves for a bit. So for the leaves, and I actually usually do like to go a little bit above this mark, because the pineapples look sort of weird when they have a really short crown, I guess, leaves. So I like to start with this big one in the back, and then I kind of go down the sides. I'm not worried about like what's in front of each other and what's not, although as you go down, they're more in front than the ones in the back, so I go top to bottom. But I just worry about the ones on the side, so I just do these sort of leaf shapes. And the ones at the bottom can kind of go out like that. And then the same on the other side. And some of them will have like little, kind of stick up more like this, so you can vary your shapes. That's always fun. Oh, I don't like that. Pencils are nice, aren't they? Okay, that's pretty okay. And then we're going to kind of go for the ones that are in the middle. So I do them so they sort of like tilt this way and tilt that way. So let's do that. And you can, as you go, you can sort of erase, because like this one's in front of these ones, so you can erase that part that gets in the way, right? You can add more wherever you really want. The world is your oyster. There's no mistakes, only happy accidents. Well, unless of course it's a mistake. Then you erase it and move on. Bob. Okay, and then... And as we go down, some pineapples, they do really stick up like that, but some of them, they sort of droop more as they go down. So if you want to draw one that's drooping, start with this shape, and then go out here and do like a triangle bit, and then erase this. So then it's like, it's coming up and it's kind of drooping like that. Like that. So I might do some of those and make this flatter. So I might do a few of those. Or you can start with the triangle bit. I think it's usually easier not to start the triangle bit, but I've done quite a few of these. And I think the really great thing about a pineapple, at least for me, it's hard to screw it up because the leaves, if you make it really sketchy, then you don't really see that much which leaves are on top of each other, and like, I don't know, it's like a beautiful mess. I don't know if that makes sense. So like, it really doesn't need to be perfect, and this is gonna be not very perfect at all, but that's okay. I also love the colors of a pineapple, but again, this isn't going to be colored. Yeah, so if I were to color it, I would erase everything right now, so that I can only see a very faint version of these lines, and then I would go in with my colors. But right now, we're going to sort of finish the job. So I'm going to go back down here, and I'm going to do like the spiky bits. So I basically just do a very narrow like thing like that. And on the side, I only do like half of it, or like half and a little tiny tick. And I apologize for my camera angles. I'm literally just holding my phone while I draw this, because we keep it fancy up in here, clearly. Okay, and then most pineapples, they have like this sort of area around the bottom half of the spiky thing that it's a little lighter. So I go in and do like a little spiky thing around a lot of those, especially the bigger ones. Like the little ones at the top, it's not as much, but we could do a little bit, I guess. And also like, well, pineapples, they tend to be like, I mean, since we're only working in black and white, like darker in value down here and lighter up here. So I do keep that in mind as I work. I also like to usually take this time to sort of define the edges a little more, if it's a sketch. And I do make them bulge slightly out instead of the smooth line we had before, but not too much, because that would look weird. Unless you want to make it more cartoony and stylize it. The world is your pineapple. Okay. Well, it's a little, okay. That's fine. And we'll go back to these spiky things. I do jump around a lot in everything I do. Forgive me. This one. And then we're going to just go in and do some shading, because shading is the mark of a true artiste, is it not? So basically, I like to darken these lines, all of them. Most pineapples that I've seen do have pretty defined these lines. You can do the little sketchy thing too, that sort of makes it look cool, I think. So we're going to go in and do that. And then as we go down, like we're gonna do that, but then we're gonna do more like down, so that that part gets shaded. But I like to leave the part in here mostly white, or like light gray maybe. So the further up, the lighter it is. And usually it's like a line like this, or like this, where it's like dark, between the darker and the lighter. I don't know if that makes sense. So I'm gonna make this my sort of darker line, this diagonal, and then this will start to get lighter, so I just go with a light touch. So that's looking pretty chill. Go a little darker down here. That's fun. Yeah, we're gonna go with this. And I can always go back later. Now I'm gonna move to the leaves, because also sometimes if you look at something for too long, it just sort of looks weird, you know what I mean? So now we're gonna go to the leaves, and basically how I shade the leaves is I just make them darker at the bottom, like the one that's behind the others, and then I sort of fade it towards the top. And also the ones that are behind other ones are gonna be darker in general, so like this one is all the way in the back, so it's gonna be darker in general, but darker at the bottom. And I also like to darken up these border lines sometimes, if I'm proud of them. I don't know. This one could be a little... darken that line. And also these ones that fold over, I like to make it a little darker, like right under where it folds. And then that maybe. Oh, I should have been whispering the whole time, then I could double this as an ASMR. I didn't even think of that. The pencil scratches, aren't they nice? Boy, what am I doing with my life? So I just go down and do the shading. You can always erase if you think you've gotten too dark. Like I think down here I might have a little bit. I just did a light touch with the eraser. And then you can also do a little more shading right here if you want. This is pretty good. Sometimes the lines blend together, so again, I do like to darken those borders for a sketch like this. Okay. Not terrible. Okay, I'm gonna call this good for a pineapple sketch. I'll just show you something I did before. I basically did the same thing as this, but then I took my watercolor brush pen, although you could just do a normal watercolor, and I just did over it. And then I tipped my book up when it was still wet, so that's why this dripped down, but it still looks sort of cool. So that's another thing you can do. with that, I hope you enjoyed this sort of tutorial, and Lacey, I'll see you tomorrow.